We have a little something here for you at Pebs Prosperous Hands. Okay, maybe a big something. We want to help you build your very own kitchen garden. We are ready to offer you a service of convenience. Growing your own produce means managing quality, reducing grocery bills, and delving into a brand new hobby. We're going to help you set up and maintain your home garden. Ask me how. We have a little something here for you at Pebs Prosperous Hands. Okay, maybe a big something. We want to help you build your very own kitchen garden. We are ready to offer you a service of convenience. Growing your own produce means managing quality, reducing grocery bills, and delving into a brand new hobby. We're going to help you set up and maintain your home garden. Ask me how. We have a little something here for you at Pebs Prosperous Hands. Okay, maybe a big something. We want to help you build your very own kitchen garden. We are ready to offer you a service of convenience. Growing your own produce means managing quality, reducing grocery bills, and delving into a brand new hobby. We're going to help you set up and maintain your home garden. Ask me how. We have a little something here for you at Pebs Prosperous Hands. Okay, maybe a big something. We want to help you build your very own kitchen garden. We are ready to offer you a service of convenience. Growing your own produce means managing quality, reducing grocery bills, and delving into a brand new hobby. We're going to help you set up and maintain your home garden. Ask me how.
Good evening, Pebs Nation, and welcome to our next episode of our agriculture podcast. As always, I'm always excited to be here to share, and to inform persons and, about the knowledge and all about agriculture. All right, so guys, welcome again to Pebs Prosperous Hands Agriculture Podcast. For this month of February, we are speaking about food security. And for those of you that missed the last episode, you missed all the goodies. You need to go back and listen to that episode. You need to go back and, put some notes in your book. Makida, pleasant nights. Nice to have you once again. Thanks for locking into Pebs Nation. Always. Really appreciate you for that. Guys, so yes, February is the month of food security. And last week, for those of us that would have missed, the episode, always take some time in your free time during the course of the weekend and go back, to the episode. All right. We learned a lot. We had a special guest, Miss Delisha Guy, and I really, really thank God for her yes, to joining us for this month. This month we are doing a partnership food security drive with the Encouragers Nest, and I'm grateful to be a part of that drive. Right, we would have shared so much last week what food security is all about, the benefits of food security. How can we improve it? What strategies, what we can put in place, to help to build the agriculture sector in the beautiful island of Trinidad and Tobago. All right, so just before we get down to tonight's topic of discussion, all right, we are going to continue speaking about food security, but tonight we are going to touch on ways, of how we can improve local food security in the beautiful island of Tobago and by extension Trinidad. All right, so director, drop the video.
So apart from gas going up, something in your supermarket going up on a daily basis, you have eggs going up, flour going up, everything in the market going up, like garlic going up, right? You have tomatoes going up, cucumbers going up, everything going up, taxi fares going up. Is every single thing going up in Trinidad and Tobago.
Right, guys, that little clip tells us all, and we can all, attest to this, that the price of every single thing is going up, by the day, by the week. Sometimes when I go to the supermarket, I'll be like, these people not serious. Is every time I come to the supermarket, it's a different price. Something going up by $1, something going up by 75 cents, something going up by 50 cents. And this is really a time for us to really get serious, a time for us to to become awakened, a time for us to truly put our hands to the soil and to try to carry down our grocery bills and even continue to build and boost the agriculture sector, not just within the island of Trinidad and Tobago, but firstly it starts with us as as the family. Then it trickles down to the community. All right, so tonight we're just going to share briefly on how we can improve local food security. So just as the video says, or just as how the guy said it in the video, food price inflation remains high around the world, throughout the world. Wherever you are located, the price of food, continues to go up, continue to remain higher. And I would have looked at some studies done and, information from the latest month, all right, between October of last year to January of this year, for which food price inflation data are available, shows high inflation in almost all low and middle income countries, guys. All right, so it's not just Trinidad, it's not just Tobago, but it's affecting each and every one of us throughout the world. And with this price inflation, there are some major concerns for global food security, and we are just going to touch a few of them tonight. All right, and number one, historically high commodity prices. Right, we are seeing it. If you look at the trends for the last 2, 3 years, 5 years back to now, we can see that there is a trend, right, where the prices are going up by the year, right? Tight staple food markets. When you look at the different staple food markets, we see how hard it is, just to be able to get certain items. All right, sometimes some of the items that we want to get, we're not even able to get it. All right. Point number 3, volatile fertilizer markets. All right. And when I say volatile, I mean like prices are changing rapidly. So farmers can attest to this. All right. For instance, there's a chemical that I used to use on my celery for when they develop the little brown spots. And I remember one time during last year, it was the size that I usually bought. It was $100 and something. Next time I went back, that was about some months after. It went up to like 2 something, almost 300. right? So the prices of fertilizers are changing rapidly. And, I'm beginning to question a lot of stuff. Are farmers going to keep up, to be able to buy these fertilizers? For someone like me who don't use chemicals at all, but on the celery, I spray a little for the brown spots. All right, because with the weather, the rain, these celeries are very sensitive. Right. So, I'm beginning to wonder, how are these farmers, going to maintain, especially if it is they don't have that, that supply, that demand to keep that constant flow of income, right? How are they going to keep or maintain the prices of these fertilizers, right? Adverse climate conditions. We see within the month of September to December last year, there were a lot of changes with our climate condition. And that's something that we always have to keep in mind, because we don't know how things will turn, we don't know how the weather patterns will go, but we also have to always keep strategies and things in mind. Even when we are planting it in our homes, in our gardens, on our farms, we have to keep these things in mind as to how the weather is going to affect. If we can raise the plants on higher beds, it's best we do that rather than plant everything on the ground, because we don't want to be losing all the hard work that we put in, right? We want our produce to be able to burst forth fruitful and be able to sell them in the market and earn an income for all the hard work that we farmers put in. All right. Apart from the climate condition, global economic slowing down. All right. And I want to say here that, throughout the world, you see that there's a global economic slowdown. Like the economy within Trinidad and Tobago, the Caribbean region, we see how it is being affected now. And this is something that we have to keep in mind, right? Because if we don't try to curb these issues now, then sooner than later, we are going to experience some serious challenges. And now is the time for us to really put, a dent into these issues. All right, high food price inflation. We just touched on that. The video that just played just spoke about that. All right, and macroeconomic trends. We see that happening throughout the world, not just within the Caribbean region, but throughout the world. And I want to say here that although there are major concerns, right? These concerns, they are not going to stop us or limit us, from improving the local food security, right? And tonight, I'm just going to touch briefly about how we can improve local food security within the island of Tobago, all right? And, I've just had some points, and I'm just going to share them with you quickly, all right? So when we think about improving, we think about making it better. We think about being able to have food to feed not just those that are hungry, but being able to feed our own first before we can even export. All right. And every government, should try to make sure people do not go hungry. Whether you live in London, whether you live in Jamaica, whether you live in Tobago, whether you live in the UK, each government, should try their best, to always have food available for their people. Their people should never go hungry. All right. And even within the island of Tobago, all right, the Tobago House of Assembly and the local government, they can make policies that promote the use of land for family farming, protect against pollution of farmland, and make affordable credit available to farmers. And they can even help farmers solve problems. All right, because when you look at it, to source agriculture land is a tedious process. There's a lot of documents that a young farmer have to submit, and at times it can be frustrating. All right, and if the government can start to put things in place, to help farmers, throughout the process, to help farmers, they would have it more easier on their hands, so that they won't feel, overwhelmed, or be like, this farming is not for me, it's too much. And even after they, they toil and they sow seeds and they root, and they reap their produce, it's still a challenge to get this produce off their hands, right? Persons aren't buying it, or they aren't marketing well. They don't have that knowledge of marketing strategies and so forth. So these are things that we ought to take into consideration as leaders, so that we can help, boost the agriculture sector. We can help, our farmers to continue to produce more, than feeling burnt out and feeling overwhelmed and feeling like, there's no hope. Because really and truly, there is hope as long as things are put in place and done in order and done correctly. All right. So I thought about subsidies, right? So the government can offer subsidies, right, as a way to improve food security, right? They can give money to support farmers financially, all right? Food buyers and so forth, all right? I would really love to see days where the government will really come on board and be consistent with farmers, all right? So it's not just about giving us a financial help out. For instance, for businesses, right? Persons go by the business development unit, right, to get grants to help out with their business as they are starting it up and so forth. So why can't the government or the THA, think about financial grants that they can give to farmers? And even if they are financial grants and we don't know about them, I think that awareness needs to take place, right? They need to have more workshops, a lot of flyers and articles and so need to be published, throughout social media so that farmers can know what is readily available for them, what can they take a hold of, what can they grab on, right? What can they truly, have access to? So even if they are passionate about the field of agriculture, what can they use to start up, right, their farming? What tools they can get, right? What grants they can get as a farmer. And these are some things I would really touch on as we continue to go forward in the podcast. All right. And the kind of subsidies, include price support to help farmers by setting a higher market price for the foods they produce and price control for food buyers or for consumers. All right. To make sure that important foods are available. So it's not just about planting the food. It's not just about putting in the hard work, but it's making sure that these foods are affordable, because a lot of times we see where farmers plant items and consumers cannot buy, right, because the prices are ridiculous. And even if they buy, they're not gonna buy as in large scale or in bulk as they used to before. They will cut back to help to save money and to help to manage their finances properly. And I do understand that from this point of view, right? But I really hope that the government or the THA sector can truly tap into some of the things that they can offer young farmers. I remember one time I went to a workshop they had, I believe it was in Shore Park, and they were speaking about discounts and so that farmers could have at the agriculture division in Shervan. And I was like, all of these things are being offered, yet no one is aware of them. Is it that they try to keep it on a down low so that they don't have to pay out much? That was my thought at that point. Because I was like, if because one of the discount they had or the rebate they had is if it is, you purchase labels and so putting into your business, they give you, a percentage back on it. So I'm like, why aren't these things published, throughout, so persons can, know what is there for them. And I think that's something that we need to work on as leaders. That's something that we need to put out there more. It should not be that you have to visit our office to find out these information. And even when you visit the agriculture sector, sometimes persons don't share these things, just opening like that. Sometimes you'll have to dig and ask, and that's when you would be able to find out about these things. But I really hope that going forward that these things become, more published, so that persons who are truly passionate about the agriculture sector can have an idea as to what they can get in return. And I believe as well there is a rebate or a percentage that they give back for vehicles, but there are stipulations to the type of vehicle that you have to buy. If it is you're doing farming, right, you must be doing farming for a specific time frame. The vehicle must be for farming, and it have its its specific details. That's something that I know of for sure. But guys, I'll try my very, very best to get some brochures and so on, more information from the Office of the Agriculture so that I can share. So as I gain knowledge, I'm going to share. I'm not selfish, right? So we're not about no selfishness for 2023. We're going to help one another to build and boost the agriculture sector. All right. And but with or without the government support, because sometimes persons tend to rely so much on the government. And even if we don't get help from the THA, and even if we don't get help from the local government or support, there are many other ways we, the people, can improve local food security. All right. Food security starts with each and every one of us, not just the farmers. For too long we have been fully dependent on the farmers only. I repeat again, today food security starts with us as a people, not just with the farmers. All right. And we can take it from planting a small garden to organizing farmers markets. All right. When last have you seen a farmers market in Tobago? I remember that they used to have farmers market in, I believe it is on the Gulf City Mall. That was the last time I saw one. That was a while now. And in Louisville, I'm not sure if they still have farmer market, or if it's because of the COVID that they decided, not to have it for the last couple years. But, when last we had a farmer's market, a real farmer's market, right, in Tobago, that's something that we ought to push on a monthly basis. It will not just help the farmers, but it will help us as a people as well to be able to purchase produce at a lower cost. All right. And changes that improve food security can often bring results quickly and motivate people to do more, right? So when persons see that here now, this thing really working, they will be encouraged, they will be motivated, to really, really push and do more, not just for themselves, but to really help the economy of Tobago and by extension Trinidad. And, for the month of February, Pebs Prosperous Hands, in collaboration with the Encouragers Nest, we have decided to embark upon, a community project. And that community project is basically a distribution of seedlings to help persons, to start to get their hands to the soil. It starts with us as individuals. All right. And I want to say that food security is strongest when food is produced and distributed locally. All right. Locally grown food is healthy, it is fresher, and it supports the local culture and the economy. Right. It also builds the local economy as money circulates to farmers and businesses in the area. Right. So we are going to embark upon a lot of community projects to help the agriculture sector, right, and to help bring awareness and knowledge to persons within the island of Trinidad and Tobago. All right, and there are so many community projects that we can do as a people, right? And I am going to share briefly, on ways that we can grow more food locally. All right, most of the projects we can do can be started with little or no capital or little land space. The point is that we have to start, and once we start, then we're going to get a push to continue going forward, right? And as we do this, as we start with these community projects, it will help communities to get more fresh food. I'm sure, just as how when you go to purchase KFC or pizza, you want your chicken fresh, it must be hot, it must now come out the deep fryer. Just as how you want your KFC and your pizza hot and fresh and now come out the oven or the deep fryer, so we want our food to be fresh and nutritious when it comes out from the ground. All right. And we can only do more when we come together as a body. All right. All of us have to come on board to fulfill this common mission. All right. One hand cannot clap. Yes, you and your family may have a really nice kitchen garden, but what about the other people in your community? And that is why we are here, to really push that drive on developing community food projects within Tobago. All right. And, we're going to look at some ways that we can truly, truly grow more food, right, to improve the food security in Tobago. And we're going to start with family gardens. All right. each and every one of us on this live, and even our families and our friends, our co-workers, we should all have a kitchen garden or a family garden. It doesn't have to be anything big. It could be a small space, start small. Whatever it is you love or you're always eating plenty of, whether it's lettuce, tomatoes, cucumber, whatever that produce may be, packed tray, whatever your hands, agree with, or whatever when you plant, it comes good. That is what you should have in your kitchen garden, in your backyard, in some bucket. Let's keep it going. It doesn't have to be a perfect garden bed or a garden bin or anything like that. Whatever you have, you make the most use of it. All right, and get those family and kitchen gardens started today. And if you can't do it for yourself, your girl here got you. All right, we at Pebs Prosperous Hands, we offer a really, really nice kitchen garden service where we come, look at the space, set you up. There are different types of garden that we set up. You choose at your cost what you can afford, and we set you up really, really nicely. And here's what, we don't just set you up, we do weekly and monthly check-ins. Talk about service and performance. You want nothing better than that. So call us today. The number is 750-5417. We got you. All right, Pebs Nation, we got you. And apart from the family gardens, there are school gardens that we can, try to improve for those, for the primary schools and even the high schools that have kitchen gardens already. We can really improve them. One thing I thought about is with the school gardens, right? It can provide fresh food for children and help keep children in school, by providing nourishment, right? And I want to add here, there are some schools that has cafeterias or canteens, right? So if each school have their own kitchen garden, then the items or the produce or the products that they need to make whatever they have to make for the children, it should come straight from the school kitchen garden. The school or the cafeteria, management shouldn't have to go elsewhere to source these items. They can get them right there in the back of the school or wherever it may be situated on the school compound. And this is something that we need to take seriously. And one thought that came to my mind, and I say Pebs Prosperous Hands will go through with this and follow through with this. I thought about this period. Okay, so in primary school, for those of us that are in Trinidad and Tobago, I'm not sure how it's done throughout the other countries in the Caribbean or in the nation, right? But there's a period just after SEA that the children goes to school for, the standard 5 kids, and they don't really have much doing. Sometimes they may offer them like Spanish and so, to keep them active and from being distracted. But I thought about doing this. Why not go to the schools, Pebs, go to the school around this time, and teach the children something pertaining to farming, have different kitchen garden competitions set up among children within the different schools so that they can participate. Because at the end of the day, this will also help to teach children to grow food by making sure, this important knowledge, stays alive. It's not just about us, farmers or we the older generation, knowing about it, but we have to pass it down. Just as how we hand down, legacy and inheritance and so forth to our children. We need to hand down farming, the knowledge about farming, to our younger ones. Because at the end of the day, when we are no more, they are the ones that has to rise to the occasion, to continue to boost the agriculture sector. So that's something I really, really have to push on before the next quarter is out, to go to schools and really, really, boost that awareness of agriculture, because a lot of persons look down, in the agriculture field. But I kid you not, there's so much more than just getting your hands dirty in the soil when it comes to the agriculture sector. There's so much more, right? So apart from the school gardens, right, we can have community gardens, right? And having community gardens can help people learn about food production, develop skills, and start new businesses such as restaurants and markets. So it doesn't just end with the family. It doesn't just end with the school, but we're going to take it a bit further and push out these garden community activities, within the community, right? And when we do these things within the community, we form bonds, we form unity, right? And we are able now, to develop a skill. There are so many persons, who never got to finish, secondary school or even primary school, so this is where, we the older ones can say here's what, 3 evenings, come on board, even if you have to come together and pool to give them a small stipend, a little certificate of appreciation for them being a part of the community activity. These are things that we ought to, push right now in the island of Tobago, all right? And even these same persons that are coming to these community gardens, they would learn. And when they learn, they would branch off and do their own thing. And that is the place, we ought to be at. That is where we ought to push, right? So that, as the older heads get tired and they can't push us before the younger ones now are rising up. And that is, a place that we ought to be. And I really, really hope that we will take, what is being shared here tonight and share it with a friend, tell a friend about it. Everybody pool, come together, right? And do something. All right. And apart from the community gardens, we can have community supported agriculture, systems or things put in place, right? And this is when farmers, all right, sell their food directly to consumers. But in this case, it's a bit different, all right? So the community members, right, or other persons outside of your community that want to be a part of the community supporting agriculture, all right? These people can pay the farmers before the crops are planted, and then receive, fresh fruits, vegetables, and other foods each week throughout the harvest season, right? So it's like, think of it as it being a susu, right? So we adding in some money here. Think of it being a susu. So every month you giving Jane Paul $500 to hold for you, right? And when Jane Paul hold that 500, there's gonna come a time that Jane Paul has to pay out to you, and that would be your hand. So whatever 500 by how much of our people in this system, that would be your hand. So see food as this, all right? We can do like food susu. Call it a food susu. So at the beginning of the year, we decide as the community supporting agriculture, here's what Mr. Guy running the community agriculture system in my village, he say, I need to contribute X amount of dollars for everybody to pool to start up this community project. You give Mr. Guy your money, and the other 20 persons give Mr. Guy their money. And when Mr. Guy buy these seedlings, these fertilizers, these manures, and he put those fresh seedlings to the ground, and they grow, and they become so fruitful, and they blossom well, and they are able to reap whatever they are reaping throughout the year. You're gonna get that. And that is how we ought to see things now. We ought to shift our mindset from the things that are just familiar, right? We ought to think out of the box going forward. There are so many things that we can come on board and come together, right, and really, really enhance the agriculture sector. I see they are doing a kitchen garden initiative, and when I saw it, I believe it's THA. I was so happy because I'm like, great minds think alike. At least somebody else is seeing that there's a need for these things within the island of Tobago. And I know that kitchen garden that they are doing initiative is going to blow up, right? And Pebs is here following their trail right behind. And I know Pebs is going to blow up as well, right? We all have to come together, right? One hand kind of clap. And they're even working in nights. I remember I saw one of the videos that they dropped recently. And I said, these people are going all out. They are setting up these gardens so well. And I really admire, and it's a simple form, right? It's a simple form they have, because I would have clicked on it to see what it's like. And so I did not register because I already have my kitchen garden. So I did not register to have it done. But if it is you don't have the money to pay Pebs and you can get it done free elsewhere, register and get it done. I will share it at some point this week so that, you guys can, take a hold of it. Information is there. grab on it and run with it, right? This is the time that we really, really have to come together as one, all right? And, by buying into this investment, the community supporting agriculture, right? Consumers help farmers stay on the land and in business while getting a dependable supply of nutritious food, right? So when you see your people planting, Mr. Guy using no fertilizer that will make you sick. Every food you get in the cassava, the sweet potato, the Irish potato is proper thing you're getting because the kind of work Mr. Guy and others putting in to do these community agriculture projects, right? So think about it. This is something that we can really, really embark on, for 2023. And apart from all the family gardens, the school gardens, the community gardens, and the community supported agriculture, in order for us to truly improve food security, all right, we need to have seed saving programs. I remember growing up as a child, I used to always see my grandmother and my auntie Anne, like when they get certain fruit trees, like fruits from certain trees and so forth, I would just suck the orange and throw it away. They used to actually keep the seeds, so okra seeds and different pumpkin seeds and so. And I used to always wonder, but why they ain't throwing away the seeds? Now I understand why. There are different variety of pumpkin, cassava, sweet potato, Irish potato, orange, mandarin, even avocado. This woman don't throw in no seed. Somebody could come from Antigua with a fruit for her. She will save the seed. And I used to be like, this woman is ridiculous. But now I understand, because, we lose a lot of the good quality and variety, of produce. And, we need to really have a seed saving program. So now, every time a girl eats a fruit with a seed, pawpaw, name it, I just save the seed and carry it for her. I say, what kind of seed is this? What quality is this? So we really, really need to have seed saving programs, right? And this will help, to make sure that traditional seed supplies are available, right? And yes, Delisha Guide, I agree with you 100%. Tobago needs a food bank, a seed bank. Tobago need their own seed bank, all right? And with the seed saving program, a variety of seed is the basis of sustainable farming and self-sufficient communities. So I got my auntie Anne tonight for really holding on to what she was taught by my grandparents. She really, really, really saved seed. Just go in the woman's fridge, she started in she fridge, and she had them labeled different type of seeds, and I said, be like, this fridge got to take over with seed. But now I understand, she really, really was doing the right thing, and I myself, start to, follow in her pathway where I was, start to save seeds, and I would say, I've got this seed from XYZ, it's this type of seed, and I was sending it for her, and she would say, right. And she would sow them, and I tell you not, sometimes when I go back her vegetable store, because she has a vegetable store, and she also does seedlings and plants and flowers and so forth. I'll be like, look how these seeds, they just transform, and it really fills my heart with great joy to see, that she's really, really consistent with what she does, and she works hard to ensure that she keeps those seeds every time, and I really, really applaud her for that. So big you up, Auntie Anne. Continue to do what you are doing. All right, and it's not just about doing the work. All right, we also have to keep in mind, so apart from all the little initiatives, strategies, and so that we can do to improve food security in Tobago, all right, we have to think about safe food storage, and we would have touched on that on the previous episode. And for those of us that would have missed it, I'm just going to touch it briefly. All right, so safe food storage is as important as the ability to grow food or have access to food. It's as important as the ability to grow food or have access to food. So we have to store our food well, right? Drought, storms, flooding, pest, or illness can all leave a family or a community with not enough to eat and nothing to sell, right? So we ought to ensure that we are keeping our food safe. So when we reap, our cassava, our pumpkin, I remember my grandmother and my grandfather, they all grew up in agriculture. And they used to pick the pumpkin and they used to have it on this plastic thing, and then they cover it over and they say the pumpkin had to drain. And me as a child saying pumpkin had to drain, let me cut that pumpkin there, something had to eat today, but I understand, what they were doing now. Now I understand, right? And as farmers, we are all, faced with pests, pest control is a task at times, that different pests throughout the year, different season. And we just have to ensure that we put the, things in place so that we can alleviate, these types of pests and be able to control them better. Flooding, we have no control over that. When the rain pours, it pours, but we also have to put things in place so that we won't have this constant loss of our crops from time to time. All right? Community food storage programs can help overcome these problems. So once again, one hand cannot clap. All right, so we ought to understand tonight that we're going to come together throughout 2023 to do some great initiatives, to do some great community programs, because we know what is ahead and we know where we want to see the agriculture sector within the island of Tobago. It's not where it ought to be now. There's some work to put in, and we are going to put in the work to boost our agriculture sector. It's not just about the leaders doing it. It's not just about the farmers doing it. It starts with each and every one of us as individuals. All right. So guys, Pebs Nation, thank you guys once again for tuning in. Before we leave, just a gentle reminder. So to kick off our community initiative, our community agriculture food storage guide drive, we will be having a seedling distribution on this Saturday coming. That's the 25th of February at the Signal Hill Recreational Ground between the hours of 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. So it's just for 1 hour. All right. This community initiative is in collaboration with the Encouragers Nest, right? We are partnering to continue to boost, right, the agriculture sector in the island of Tobago. We are improving food security. We are improving food security. So guys, come out, collect your seedlings. They are free of charge. Just ensure that you have something to take them in. All right. Ensure as well that you don't just leave the seedlings to die, but you go home and you put your hands in the soil and you plant them out, and you even as you plant out the seedlings, send pictures, send videos. When they get to their growth stage, their fruiting stage, their reaping stage, send pictures, send videos, right? Gratitude is something we ought to always embrace, all right? I believe in saying thanks. I believe in being grateful for the little things in life, because if you're not grateful for the little things, how can you be grateful for the bigger things? So that's something that we ought to learn in this season. All right, and guys, go follow Pebs Prosperous Hands on YouTube. I've just created our YouTube channel, so guys, go follow. If you aren't a followers yet on our Instagram page, it's the same thing, Pebs Prosperous Hands on Instagram, on Facebook, Pebs Prosperous Hands, and on YouTube, Pebs Prosperous Hands. So continue to follow Pebs Nation. Pebs Nation continue to bring you a lot. All right, so stay connected to Pebs Nation, stay connected to the Agriculture Podcast, and we have so much more in store for you. For the month of March, we are going to do a little twist on the podcast. I'm not going to share it as yet. There are some things I just have to confirm before I launch out. But guys, continue to stay connected, and thank you guys for logging on tonight. Thank you guys for locking in. And I really, really appreciate you guys. Have an awesome night. Continue to enjoy the balance of your week. See you again every second and every fourth Thursday of each month, where we're going to share and learn all about agriculture on this podcast. Thank you guys. Bye.